welcome you today after a long week in Chios and smooth arrival of all the students and the team here in Athens to finish this first week, the on-site part of the course with a high-level seminar conference on education and professional development, fostering leadership in aviation. There are slight changes in the program. Then, for personal reasons, Joanna cannot join. Then I will be, let's say, the MC for today's event, and I'm really thrilled to welcome all of you and the students and all the senior people that are with us today. As you know, being part of Hermes, our role is to bring the industry in this coefficient of this education program. And really, this week it was a great week in Chios. I was there, I teach the first day, then I follow the rest online, and I'm really happy with the outcome. And Andreas and Michael will do a presentation on this. But without the collaboration of Athens Airport, this would not be possible. And I would like to thank all the team. First of all, Kallimasias, the CEO, Managing Director, CEO of Athens Airport, Ioanna Papatheodorou, and the team, and Teta Petrol and the rest that helped to organize this high-level event. I love this room, by the way, and the media center. It's really efficient. You arrive today, and immediately we have this conference. And then I would like to invite Andreas to make the presentation of the on-site activities that took place from Sunday till yesterday in Chios. Andreas, the floor is yours.
Great. So we are all here. We will survive. First of all, many thanks to Kostas. Many thanks to Athens International Airport for the great support. Mr. Kallimasias, Mr. Papatheodorou, Ms. Petrula, and the entire team. Without you, it would have been possible to have this great and inspirational program. And as I said, many thanks to Mr. Transport Organization as well. As you know, this is a joint program delivered by the University of the Aegean and Democritus University of Thrace. We are supposed to have only 1 week on site on the island of Chios. The rest of the program is delivered online. But on purpose, we did put a lot of emphasis on this very week because it's very important, not only from an academic point of view, but also in terms of bonding. It's one of the few opportunities for all members of staff and students to meet each other and to set the fundamentals for a very successful collaboration over the next 18 months. So what I'm going to do briefly in the next few minutes is to present this very intensive week that took place between Sunday, the 1st of February, and Thursday, the 5th of February. As I said, it was very intensive with lots of experiences. In total, we had 9 lectures delivered. These were related to the courses of the first semester. We had 12 short presentations of second semester courses. Some of them were done on site by members of staff who reside or who happen to be on Chios. Some of us were done online. Just to remind you that we have a total of 23 lectures involved from 8 different countries. So this is quite an international program, and some of them logged in and presented the course from different countries, including the UK, Germany, and also places like Norway, Slovakia, and so on. So we had, as I said, 9 proper lectures. We had these 12 short presentations. We had an excellent leadership workshop, which was designed and moderated by Mr. Michael Gell, and our guest of honor was Dr. Dimitris Gerogiannis, the CEO of Aegean Airlines. We also had a demonstration of our lab, the Transport and Tourism Development Lab. It's a new lab that we have at the University of the Aegean. Very recently, we acquired some state-of-the-art equipment regarding drones, simulation of piloting drones. So we had the opportunity to show this to our students as well. I will produce evidence in a while. And, you know, it's not only about academic activities. We work hard, but we also play hard. So we had 3 social functions. We started with a very nice welcome reception on Sunday, followed by an excursion and a gala dinner. It's quite unfortunate that we were not able to have with us Mr. Kallimasias, Ms. Papatheodorou and their team. Unfortunately, due to weather disruptions, they were not able to join us on Sunday. In any case, I want to thank them once again for all the great support. So here I have a nice photo from the foyer of the amphitheater in Chios, in our university campus, Michaliou building. That comes from Sunday. As you know, at that stage, there were a few people knowing each other. We had a number of outcomes that knew each other, people from Athens International Airport. But the rest, of course, was the first time to get to know each other. So basically, this welcome reception was about ice breaking, but I think we did a good job, because from Monday onwards, we moved on with the academic part in a very nice setting. Here you can see photos from leadership workshop with Mr. Michael Bell, Dr. Kostas, Iatrou, myself, and also a demonstration of our state-of-the-art drones equipment by Dr. Ioanna Pagoni. And as I said, it's not only about academia. We also had a number of interesting functions related to our excursion. So yes, the weather was not ideal, but on Wednesday we managed to geoengineer the weather, and it was sort of okay. We managed to visit the Museum of Mastika on the beautiful island of Chios. So we have a picture from Mastika Museum. We have a picture here from Mestar village, from Bihi, and also from Mavravolia, black stones. And what you can see here are stones that we throw behind. As you know, there is a saying in Greek that I leave a black stone behind me, which means that I break from the past. So the very idea here is that with MATBA, people can move ahead in their career, have a structural break from what was their career before, and now they're ready to take off at further and higher levels. And of course, as I said, part of the program, it's not only academic, it's about liaising with the industry and the different stakeholders of the industry. We were greatly honored to have with us Dr. Dimitris Gerogiannis on Wednesday. He spent the whole day with us. He arrived around noontime. He came to our universities, the students, presented the work, and in this point I would like to cordially thank Mr. Michael Bell for designing and moderating an excellent case study which related to Aegean Airlines. Then Dr. Gerogiannis spent the rest of the afternoon and early evening with us in visiting the beautiful sites in Chios, and on our way back he was interviewed by Mr. Michael Bell, but also answered a number of interesting questions said by the students. So we're very happy to have him on Wednesday, and as I said, many thanks to Mr. Bell for moderating the whole activity as well. And of course, you can't end a nice academic week without some gala dinner and party activities. And one of the students said, well, we are already in the carnival period, and I would like to thank my team and Argyris in particular for taking all the initiative to make this a proper kind of masquerade party. So as you can see, the equipment was here to the left. I think the dinner was quite nice, and that was followed by some dancing. So overall, a great week full of experiences. Transport by definition is a very, very interesting ecosystem, full of people characterized by an open spirit of cosmopolitanism. That's what we wanted to I would say convey as a message to our students. But as I said on Sunday, now there are students in the very near future that are going to be our partners. We are together, we fly together, and it's not about academic functions, it's well beyond that. So for all of you that managed to be on HEOS during the previous week, I hope that you really enjoyed yourselves, that you managed to learn things, but you also managed to get to know each other, and that you are now fully equipped and ready for a difficult, but I would say very productive, challenging, but also very exciting online program, which starts on Monday. Once again, many thanks to our partners, Mr. Transport Organization, of course, Athens International Airport, and our joint academic partner, Democritus University of Thrace. Thank you very much.
Then I can say that I was in the wrong part of the week because after I left, they were partying. I have to to teach them on Monday. Then they relaxed, and after I left, and had a great time. No, seriously, it's a great team. What I can say from my experience that I'm much more optimistic than I was before the start of the program. I'm really happy that it went really well, and I would like to thank everyone on board for this. Then, as Andreas referred many times to Michael Bell, then I'm pleased to invite Michael to make a presentation of the leadership workshop activities. For those of you who don't know Michael Bell is a senior client partner, Aviation Aerospace practice on Korn Ferry. Is a personality in aviation, and we are thrilled to have him in physical presence in HEOS and today in Athens. This is really an add value. Thanks to him, we had also Dimitris Gerogiannis being physical presence in HEOS. I was not able to stay the whole week, but I managed to see via Zoom the interaction we had, and it was really great. I'm really pleased to have Michael, and I think you commit to come next year as well for the intro course. Then, Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kostas. Thank you, Andreas. I thought I would just spend a few minutes doing a synthesis of what we heard on two themes. One is managing your career as you embark on this important element of that, securing your MBA. And the other is on some of the takeaways or lessons learned from the time that we spent with Dr. Georgiannis. And I'll start with the latter. Just to tell everyone what we did in case you weren't there. So we spent December, January writing a case study with his participation. We interviewed him, wrote the case, got him to review it, approve it, etc. He wanted to continue toning down the parts about him because, as we learned, he's a very humble man. But we then shared the case last week with the students. They reviewed it. We had a brief session on Monday to just go over what the assignment was. We gave the students 5 or 6 key questions. Read the case and come on Wednesday. Initially, we were going to give you the whole week because Dimitris was coming on Friday, but he came early. So there was a lot of anticipation there. Oh my gosh, the CEO of Aegean's coming. How are we going to be ready in 48 hours to present to him? But I will tell you, the students did a fabulous job. And we made it even tougher on them because there's 20 some odd students, but they had to make one presentation. So it was a good bonding, team building activity to align on a common message. And Kostas here, not this Kostas, another Kostas, kindly was nominated as the representative and did a superb job. In fact, later in that day, when we got back into the classroom after the excursion, Dimitris was asked by us, hey, what did you think of the presentation? He said, spot on. So clearly you got the message about that, the messages he was sharing through the case. But let me try to synthesize those just so you have some takeaways. To me, the evident thing is leadership matters. And that's what this case was. It's not a technical case. We don't ask you to crunch numbers. We ask you to ask yourself, what are the leadership lessons coming out of that? And to me, and I think hopefully what came through, is Aegean is a case about leadership. And as he indicated, it's not just his leadership. It's the leadership from the ownership over years through multiple crises. It's his leadership, but also the leadership of his team and all the way down to the front line. And we asked him a question, say, hey, how do you ensure that that culture that you've built is delivered? He says, well, we make sure that the people in frontline supervisory positions are aligned more or less with how we run the company, because we can't be everywhere at the same time. We recruit on the basis of getting people who are aligned. We make sure that we're all pretty much adhering to the same core values. And whereas the company clearly has a strong strategy, which works, it's a strategy based on, I'd call it disciplined, methodical growth. Not boom and bust, but very disciplined, methodical growth. I think what came through is there's an expression we use in the US that culture eats strategy for lunch, right? That the culture of Aegean is really the thing that holds that company together and allows people to make decisions on how to fix an AirOps issue when it comes up or a performance issue, whatever it might be. The strategy is important, but the culture perhaps is more important. And I think what's even more critical about that culture is that it's shaped by actions, not words. You know, we, in our business, work with many aviation organizations. And I go into some of their offices and there's the mission statement and the values on the wall. And then we see a lot of dysfunctionality in the organization because they don't live those values, right? Clearly, what they do at Aegean under his and the others' leadership is that they live those values. They act them out. They behave per the values. And I think the best example of that is what he did, as was indicated by Andreas, that day. He came and spent the entire day with an MBA class. This is a busy man running an important airline, but it shows you that he cared. And he arrived initially when we were giving the briefing, he sat at the back of the room among the students. And then we went on the excursion on a bus, and he went to sit at the back of the bus, as he does, I think, here on the flights, with the students, interacting with the students. And so it's clear that that is the core of the takeaway from that is leadership matters. It forms the culture of the organization and is how you live that every day. The other thing was, it's clear that there's some evergreen principles to their culture, but they also allow it to evolve over time. You know, we've seen many examples of successful airlines. You know, you go back to which were the biggest airlines in the United States in the 1970s, 60s, Pan American, TWA, they're gone, right? But the really successful airlines know how to keep their values constant, but evolve at the periphery on the things that maybe aren't central, but are needed as change in response to the environment. My only challenge to you, and I did not see this in your presentation as students, is go beyond the case, right? The case was about Aegean, but it asked you questions about what other airlines have similar or different but equally effective principles. And I would encourage you to research that, but not just airlines, ANSPs, airports, et cetera. There's a lot of really good examples out there. We'll probably be writing some more case studies around that, but I would encourage you to do that because there's lessons to be learned from all those companies, including possibly those that you were working with, including this one we're here at Athens Airport. Okay, just a couple of minutes on career management. I shared some thoughts, not about necessarily my career, although I kind of used that as an example of lessons learned, good and bad, but for you to think about shaping and managing your own career. And I think I put 3 frameworks for you to consider. One is it's a house. And you already, you know, several of you in your 30s, employed, you've built a lot of elements of that house, but the house is your house and no one's going to take care of that house except you. Make sure it has a strong foundation, your education, your early career experience. Make sure that you build a nice structure on top of that. And if you're changing jobs, changing companies every 12 months, it's very hard to have a really strong foundation and a really strong house. And then make sure that you're always thinking in the future about, well, what will be my capstone? What will be my legacy? What's going to be the nice roof on that house? You know, that pinnacle on top of the pyramid that the Egyptians put, so that it rests on top of that foundation that you built. The second theme was, I said, the 3 F's, which I learned from a TV evangelist. I know it's a crazy thing, but faith, focus, follow up. Believe in yourself. Pick something to focus on. It need not be super narrow. In my case, I focused on aviation. It's my passion. I live and breathe it. And follow up, discipline, right? stay with it. Don't abandon your path when things get tough. I cited the example that after 9/11 and again in COVID, I had great opportunity to leave my business to do something else, but no. We actually had our strongest years after COVID and after 9/11, believe it or not. So the challenge to you is, how will you lead? How will you shape a set of leadership principles, much like those we learned about Aegean? And fast forwarding that film, what will be the legacy that you want to leave to this fabulous industry that we're all a part of? So that was essentially, I think, the synopsis of the discussion that we had. I think we were honored to have Dr. Georgianis with us, and I also want to thank the Athens Airport, Hermes, and the two universities for allowing that to happen and bringing him into the classroom. And thank you for the invitation. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Then really thanks, Michael. I was in your introduction there, and also the 3 Fs and also the 20, 40, 40 that you said in that class. Then I said to my sons about the same evening when I returned back. Then really thanks for organizing the leadership. I think we have a next case for next year next to you. Then as we are international, don't forget that we have to have this international perspective as a program. Then I'm really happy to invite from my side for the first time the new CEO of Athens International Airport. But I know from the start he believes on this program, and also he happens to come from Chios. Then he's also sentimental, the link with the University of the Aegean. Mr. George Kallimasias, the Managing Director, CEO of Athens International Airport. Please applaud him for...
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. As Kostas said earlier, I come from here, so I was really disappointed that I didn't make it to the first day of the program, and I'm also very disappointed because I see that the induction week you had was very exciting with social events, nice excursions, and I'm really sorry that I actually reminded of my induction week in my MBA, which was probably the nicest week. The rest is a bit more difficult. Huh? Thank you very much. Again, I would like to welcome you to Athens Airport. Today is a milestone not only for Athens International Airport, and the University of Aegean and the University of the Democratic University of Thrace, but for the broader aviation community in Greece and beyond. We are here to honor a program that reflects ambition and foresight, the MATBA, the new MBA in Air Transport Management. Allow me to say a few things about the contribution and the importance of airports and aviation in general, but also for our country. First of all, airports and aviation are much more than a transport industry. We are unique engines of economic and social growth. In a recent study by ACI, it is demonstrated that Europe's airports and the corresponding connectivity contributes annually to 14 million jobs in Europe and 851 billion in GDP. That's about 5% of the entire European GDP each year. The same study also demonstrates that a 10% increase in direct air connectivity is correlated with a 14% drop in poverty rates and 9% boost in access to education. With regards to our airport, the Athens Airport, we have what we call the community, the Athens Airport community, which is essentially a vibrant city of about 19,000 employees and more than 400 companies. And we are pretty certain that we represent the largest engine of economic growth in the country. And in fact, a recent economic impact study that we have performed demonstrates that Athens Airport contributes about 3.8% of the country's GDP and contributes also to 214,000 jobs through this indirect and catalytic impact. At the same time, tourism, as you probably know, is the single most important contributor sector of the Greek economy. And in Greece, more than 70% of the incoming tourists come by air, come through aviation. So the importance of our industry for the country and for the country's growth and prospects is, I think, self-evident. Yet, until now, there was no educational course related to aviation and aviation business in our country, despite the significance of our sector to the country's prospects. And this MBA was created exactly with that purpose in mind. We are proud, first of all, of the IA team that has worked hard for the launch of this MBA, and we thank them very much. It is a vision to invest in education that reflects our company's deep understanding of the industry's future. And by supporting this MBA, we are nurturing talent. We are the talent that will guide aviation into the next era. This MBA brings together the resilience and real-world experience of Athens International Airport with the academic rigor and research experience of the University of Aegean. And this partnership is not simply institutional. It is a strong bond of practice, theory, of industry insight, and academic depth. Together, these two institutions are shaping a new generation of aviation leaders who will influence the future of airports, airlines, air navigation, logistics, sustainability, and mobility. Allow me to address our students. You are the first cohort, the front runners. You come from diverse backgrounds, and I'm happy to see also colleagues from Athens International Airport, but you are from different backgrounds, and over the coming months you will not only enjoy nice social events and masquerade parties, but you will also have the chance to challenge assumptions, analyze complex systems, collaborate on ideas that may one day transform the aviation landscape. You will learn from distinguished faculty, seasoned professionals, and from each other. And you will discover that leadership in aviation is not only about managing operations, it is about understanding people, anticipating change, and making decisions that balance efficiency, safety, sustainability, and value creation. Allow me also to address our professors and academic partners. Your dedication to building this program, the curriculum, the research pathways, and industry connections has been extraordinary. You're equipping students with analytical tools, strategic frameworks, and global perspective that modern aviation demands. Your work ensures that this MBA is not just another degree, but the catalyst for a meaningful impact. This program is more than a collaboration. It is a commitment to excellence, to innovation, and to the belief that Greece can be a leader in aviation education and strategy. The challenges ahead for the industry are real, but so are the opportunities. With the right people, the right knowledge, and the right partnerships, the sky is not only the limit, it's only the beginning. I would like to invite you all to embrace this journey ahead with inquisitiveness, courage, and ambition. I hope this program will inspire new ideas, lasting connections, and empower each one of you to shape the future of aviation. Thank you, and welcome to a truly remarkable journey of learning, education, and aviation, and I hope you also have a great academic experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George, for these inspiring words and the commitment of Athens International Airport on this. As you said, this is a commitment from all of us, and it's not. We start from Greece and we will go to the world. That's the idea. You know, when we made the press conference on the 11th of November, we said that will be the first in Greece. But the idea is to make this program the best in the world, and something will be interact with the industry. Then to move to the panel, this is exactly the idea then for you, the students, and it's to interact with the industry. And most of you don't search a career to be academicians, but to have a senior position, leadership position in the air transport, as we said also in our cocktail reception on Sunday and my lecture on Monday. Therefore, interact with the current CEOs, already we heard from George, then will allow you to interact and learn from their experience. You had also with Dimitri and with Michael during the week. And I'm really pleased to have a really fantastic panel. They came just for you today. They just literally arrived 3:30. Was a perfect on-time performance of Aegean, I think. Yes. No, of course not. Of course not. Then I would like to invite my panelists, then Mehmet Nane, that is the chairperson of Pegasus Airlines and vice president of Hermes Air Transport Organization, and co-executive director of IAF, the International Aviation Forum. Too many acronyms for you. We will learn it in our classes the following weeks. Rania Georgoutsakou, it happens to be Greek, but representing a very, very important organization that is the Airlines for Europe, A4E, that just arrived, as we said, and then Michael Bell, that I think you know all of you, and last but not least, Ilias Maragkakis, who is the associate partner of Lufthansa Consulting. Then what we're going to do till 5:30 is to have a nice discussion, interaction with the panelists. I have a list of questions. However, this is your opportunity to ask questions. As I said to you when we had our first session on Monday, we'll have online courses, but here you have physical. They are here. They just came for you and for the program, and I would like to thank all of you to be here. Then it will be good to ask questions, and you don't get a grade about this, but it helps you about what you're doing. Therefore, I would like to ask each of you to tell me, is education important for the professional development? As is the theme of today's seminar. Mehmet.
Ladies first. As a gentleman.
I hate that privilege. Thank you for the privilege, and thank you very much for having me today, and thank you to the airport and Aegean and everybody who got me super smoothly from Brussels, even though we left a smidgen late. The short answer is yes. I'm a classical studies person way back when I used to live in Greece and go to school here, and I learned one thing, and that is I live and learn, as the Americans say. And when I sit in my job today, I have the privilege of having a front row seat to the leading European airline groups. So my members, the people I interact with, are the CEOs of the 16 major European airline groups, and the people in their teams who manage different business units. And what I see from them, and especially in aviation, is a culture of constant learning, of constant adaptation, of constant change and evolution. And I think that's the most essential thing that keeps this industry ticking, because I think the first thing every CEO told me when I went to meet them when I first took up my position was, Rania, you know how you can become a millionaire? No? Well, you start off as a billionaire and you buy an airline. That's what they all told me, all 16. And yet they persevere, and this is a thriving, challenging at times industry, but I think the biggest investment they make is in lifelong learning, be it formal in programs like this, or by pairing people together, by sitting in groups with their peers from different airlines to learn, to evolve, to adapt. So yeah, sure.
No more ladies.
Why education? This is a very philosophical question. I can give you an example from my personal life. I finished university. It was International Political Science Department. Then I became a banker. Then I went for not MBA, but for MSc, Master of Social Science, in banking and in a specific subject. So education gives you a notion of where and how to find knowledge. When you put letters on top of it, like MBA, MSc, PhD, executive trainings, you would like to deepen the information that you're receiving. For example, there are very few aviation management courses in the universities in the whole globe. You graduate from the management departments and you get into the aviation business, or you graduated from industrial engineering, avionic engineering, you get into the technical department, or revenue management department, or some department of the aviation. You use what you learned during your BA in the universities in order to do your job better. So the university training is a kind of vehicle to do the day-to-day job better. Then when we add a letter on top of it, like an MSc or MBA, you start to specify in certain areas. You know how to do the day-to-day job. You have the notion how to find the information and what basis to use. For example, statistics. Everybody question in the universities, why am I learning these statistics? But when you come to the real life, when you try to get the correlations and the combinations, or permutation or the probabilities of the events and occurrences, you understand how you can use in the business that knowledge and where to pick the right data. So, for example, if you're an industrial engineer, if you're specialized in the revenue management, if you do an MBA on top of it, you started to deepen your knowledge where to find the right data. If you do a PhD, even you get more depth. So, education, higher education, training gives you the basis to do your business. But a ladder up gives you the sustainability and depth of what you're doing.
Thank you. Ilias.
Great. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. And I think excellent points were made before. But really, I want to thank actually everybody because you don't get very often the opportunity to speak directly to the future. So thank you for that. And I'd like to mention 2 points here. It's not just about education for the sake of education or training. It's also the type of education. And I believe what aviation experience is showing us is that the more one can combine different fields of expertise, the better professional they are and the more value they add to the industry. Just to give you an example, since we're in an airport, combining airport security with quantitative knowledge like mathematics, statistics, that's a great use. Terminal operations, well, it's great. Anybody's going to get to where your hive is, but combining this knowledge with PMO, with project management, again, that's something that's going to be needed. The reason is you have a lot of technologies being integrated into a single building. So you see there's a lot of combinations of knowledge rather than straightforward education only, let's say, only on one field. That's one. Second interesting case is that I believe the best education one can get is the education to learn how to learn. I think, Rania, you also touched on it. And I'll just give a very brief example. AI, I mean, what was it, like 4 years ago, where October, I think, with OpenAI, things started becoming a little bit more popular. And right now, as a company, when we hire, since the 1st of January, you'll be assessed on AI, use of AI. There is a special exercise on pitfalls of AI. There's even a track exercise. You have to be careful of how not to use AI. So all of a sudden you see within 4 years from something that was just in the news, right now it's a 1.5 hour assessment in a 6 hour assessment basically in a company. And I'm sure we're not the only ones. I'm sure everybody else does it in the industry. So yeah, that's it.
Like I left you last because you already spoke in the start. Then what's your opinion? Sorry.
I'll share a few more thoughts. Of course, it matters. It's critically important to shape one's thinking, etc. But I'll share a few themes where, and I shared this with the students on Monday. When I joined McKinsey, I learned that many of my colleagues there had gone to superb business schools. I went to a decent one, not a world-class one. But what they got out of their experience was the networking with their cohort group. So I urge you to think about it that way. It's not just the content of what you're learning, but the relationships you're going to build with each other, with people that you're going to get exposed to. So how do I open up my aperture and think about what can I get out of this experience? I think it's particularly a challenge because your program is effectively virtual. So how will you connect with each other, build relationships, build networks while doing that virtually? That's one. The second is, the education is a lifelong thing, and I did my industrial engineering. I learned linear programming and operations research. I did my MBA, learned the language of business, but the single most important formative part of my education wasn't in the classroom. It was 7 years at McKinsey & Company, where I learned how to think, where I learned how to communicate. For example, at McKinsey, they teach you something called a governing thought. Always start with the headline, right? CEOs want to hear the headline. And then how to structure the supporting points beneath that. Concepts like MISI, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. When I analyze something, I use that framework today. So these were things that, came out of a work experience. So seek out, if you're not in one today, a place where you will get that kind of rigorous training on the job, not just in the classroom.
Thank you, Michael. Then taking from... Yeah, please.
I found it very interesting. I just want to touch on what Michael just mentioned. It's the two trainings he just mentioned, it's trainings that we receive in Lufthansa Consulting. It's mandatory, actually. From ex-McKinsey people, the MISI, the government of how to do it, and so on. So even if we hire very seasoned professionals, still they have to undergo this training. This is a good example of how it continues to be used.
Interesting. Then taking what you said earlier about the type of education, then is specialized education, I'll start with you, essential for careers in the aviation industry? Then not to have just a generic MBA, but having something specialized into the field of aviation.
Absolutely, it does help. It is not mandatory, like everything in life. One makes their own career, and of course education does not define everything. However, it does help if one has some specialized. It shows more what Michael mentioned when he was in the podium. It shows more the focus. It helps also to focus. If you're really into aviation, I do believe in order to add a little bit of focus, it helps to get a specialized training. There might be some personal bias because my master's was in airport planning and management, which many people found odd back at that time. While for me it was very normal. I do believe, also from personal experience, but from what I've seen, even in the consulting world, and being in the airport world and regulatory world, it does help exactly bring that color, if you like, that styling of knowledge that one also has knowledge, which is related to the industry. So it helps. Definitely not mandatory. We have all met, I think, archaeologists who are excellent pilots, right? So.
Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm of two minds on this one. If some studies in the United States about where do most of the successful Fortune 500 CEOs come from, the biggest producer is the University of Wisconsin, just because it's a good school and they teach people also liberal arts. Many of the senior leaders I meet don't have any specialized training. They have a broad-based education. Because the higher up you go in an organization, I'm sure Rania is not dealing with deeply technical issues, right? She's dealing with regulatory, geopolitical, and all these things, is that those will become more important. So yes, do the specialization, do the technical aspects, but also keep that open aperture, because that broader knowledge will be important. For those of you, I know your sons are here, who haven't yet chosen that, it's okay to do a liberal arts education, but maybe then do a specialized MBA, as the students are doing here.
Rania, you come from another business, but I can say that she was great. In a short time, she became a star. I mean, everyone praised that coming from the lamp industry a lobbyist, of course. That in Brussels is not easy job, by the way. Then I managed to, I don't know, managed to really run a very efficient the airline industry in collaboration with the airport, because sometimes it's a bit in a fight between the two. Well, before. Yeah, come on.
Don't say that. He just got here. Okay.
Before I said, not now.
Thank you.
With Olivier, you had a fantastic relationship.
So I'm indeed the example of you don't need to be an expert in the field to do well in a field or to navigate a field. So I'm a law graduate and I studied English law. I didn't even study Greek law.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, you then said I'm a lobbyist, so I'm not sure I've improved in life, but yes, I am a lobbyist today. I work in politics. I've been working in politics for over 20 years, and I joined aviation 2.5 years ago. And before that, I did, as you said, lighting industry, lighting manufacturers. Before that, I did global chip manufacturing. You know, the guys who make the chips that, like Intel and ASMLs and all those global companies, which are really forward-looking. Before that, I did health. Before that, I did social policy. I've done a bit of everything. And I think that's okay, because while I enjoy and I spend a lot of time and energy to show respect to the work of my team and the work of my members and dive into the details, fundamentally, my role is about finding patterns and about smelling people, evaluating situations, and trying to glue things together and navigate crisis. That's what I do in many different, little pools of problems every day. And I think when you do that in life, you don't need to be an expert in something in particular, other than humans, calm and a good sense of humor. And the fact that you have seen so many different sectors, in my view, helps also, first of all, take a step back and think, it happens to the best of us, so it's nothing personal to this sector. Everybody goes through something like this. Then to think, okay, who else do I know who can give me a bright idea, who's maybe completely outside aviation? Because, a lot of time we spend most of our time surrounded by the people who are like us and who think like us. And me, I always, when I have a big problem, I call up, someone still working in chips, or someone doing bathtubs, or, just something completely different, just to get an idea of how other people navigate challenges. Because fundamentally, we're all the same, and processes, when you just strip everything down to the basics, it's always the same, and then you just add the circumstances of each sector. So by all means do an MBA, and by all means have a specialization, but I completely subscribe to what you've said, that you need to keep your mind open and your sense of curiosity always sharp.
Mehmet?
It depends.
Who's the lawyer? Huh?
Why it depends? Because when you look at your career path, at the start of your career, you start in a department. Again, let me give an example from myself. I started my career as a banker. So if you ask me what is your first, I can say, competency, I say finance. On top of that, you start with that. If you are not successful in the area that you are working, you cannot raise to the higher positions. So if you are successful, you became specialist, then manager, then director, or whatever the positions are there. It means that in order to be successful and open your path to the higher positions, C-level or the CEO level, you have to prove yourself in certain disciplines and came there. That will be your competency areas. Then, if you open your radar for all the other businesses, like Rania said, you have to understand in the top C-level or the CEO level on everything. A CEO must know finance. If we're talking about aviation, understand from pilot business, understand from technical business, understand from buying aircraft, buying fuel, negotiating the costs of the airlines, airports, everything. But you have to be specialized in somewhere in order to come up to that ladder. If you're not specialized and prove yourself, you cannot climb the ladder to there. So again, I was started in 1988 as a banker, then I converted into the other side, went to a holding company and do projects, mergers and acquisitions. related to finance. Then I started my career as a CEO in retailing. So I worked for almost 11 years as a CEO in 2 different retailing companies. Then they hired me as a CEO 10 years ago to aviation company Pegasus. Why they hired me? The very first day I told my colleagues that I'm not going to be a pilot, I'm not going to be a technician. So what am I going to do? My job is to open you the way, provide you the enough resources to do your specialized areas, jobs better. So I'm like an excavator, opening the path, and the specialized people in their respective departments are coming. Are they going to do the concrete runway, asphalt runway, whatever they want to do is their specialty. And I want to provide all the resources to them in order to do their job best. Best is not enough anymore. That has to be sustainable, so continuously best. So you have to specialize in certain areas in order to come to a managing position. But after that, you have to open your way. To give an aviation example, you know the towers, ATC? So the ATC people, have you ever been there?
There are some of the students are from the
ATC.
ATC. How many are you from
How many
ATC?
You know what am I going to say? So, when it comes to you, they gave you a specific aircraft in order to depart or arrive.
Always.
You're not going to do this 2 or 3 at the same time. Rarely you do that, but you give. So, are you using the manual system? So you have in that manual drifting system 1 aircraft. For example, TC112. So you spoke with the TC112. You give the orders to TC112, but at the same time, you're looking to the other aircraft also. So you focus in 1 aircraft, but you're looking to the others. So go to 5,000 feet. The sea level management is something like that. You have to focus in certain area, but your radar must be open in all others around you.
Thank you, Mehmet. Then I go to what Michael said earlier, that it's important networking, and the fact that we move to the online that allows, of course, Michael. It's nice. We had a really great week for you and 2 days for me, but it's difficult to spend a lot of time and sacrifice, as I said, on Monday the jobs. Then we have to move to online. Then allow that's the unique. The uniqueness of this program, that the rest of the program, as Andreas said, it will be online. But however, how important is networking during aviation studies? I don't know if you want to add something on this, and I would ask the fellow panelist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional networker. It's what I do, right? So, and I even consider myself, and forgive me for saying this, a people collector, right? In fact, I sought out to meet Rania at a conference, sat down with her, I want to go have a coffee with her, right? So, there are plenty of opportunities to do that, and I would urge you to do that. Why? You learn from everybody you meet. Look, relationships matter, right? Your education matters, but the fact that you know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody is going to facilitate getting where you need to go. I would urge you to think about doing that in a rigorous manner, meaning, what does that mean? When I go to a conference, I mean, I hate to say it, I don't really go for the content of the conference. I go with my list, right? I get the list of who's participating, I talk to them, the speakers and the participants, I work up the list of 50 people that I want to meet, and if I'm lucky, I walk away having interacted with 30 of them. And I'm often the only executive recruiter at those events. Why do I say that? They don't see me as a headhunter, they see me as part of their industry. I've infiltrated and become part of their industry, because that's the industry I chose to be in. So think about that. What conferences are going on here in Athens or wherever you may be living? I'll tell you, there have been several of them over the past few years, right? Kappa holds conference is here regularly.
Asia Europe. Asia Europe.
Yes. Go out, participate in these, find a way. There's usually a way to get there, maybe as a student, right? Or
Free participation.
yeah, it's free participation.
Yeah.
So it's hugely important.
Rania?
Like he said, me too. My job is to talk to people as a lobbyist. So absolutely, and what better time to do that than when you're a student, already between each other, because it's something special to be a student, and this is a connection you can keep through the rest of your career. So already something special there. And then, yes, the more people you talk to, the more bright ideas they might give you, and you never know where life takes you. I mean, I went to the UK to study law, to come back and be a lawyer with my mother. And 30 years later, to give everything away, I'm running Airlines for Europe in Brussels, married to a Frenchman, traveling across Europe, having a lot of fun. So life has a way of taking you to amazing places as long as you remain open to who you meet and what they tell you and what that might be as an opportunity for you. And as long as you have, in my opinion, a very healthy sense of adventure, a very healthy sense of curiosity and of humor, you can go to really amazing places. So I strongly encourage you to just turn around to the person next to you who you don't know and go, hey, who are you? What are you doing? What do you think of the coffee here? And you know, we're all human, and a relationship starts. If you're not as good as you are, who's a professional people collector, right? The rest of us can try this, the easy, humane way of talking to someone you don't know.
Yeah, I can add what Michael said. Then when I was doing my PhD, then my supervisor, Ferry, that was the head of department in Cranfield, said to me, when you go to conference, you don't learn anything, but you do network. And actually, I can say that one of the things that's why we're best friends with Michael, because we are all both networkers. Then we enjoy people with people, hug people, and so on. What we missed during COVID was this. I mean, we had virtual conference, but it's not the same. I mean, it's much in a screen. Then you can only interact. Of course, you learn things. No, at the end, you learn things from the conferences. When I'm with Michael ton of conference per year, then we little learning because we hear many times the same thing. But for some, as I think Mehmet said, that you go free, then you have this hat or the excuse to be a student, then use that, because then the people wants to have students. Something with the case of Dimitris Gerogiannis, then. Is not a person, wants to see himself and so present himself, and then you're not going to see IATA IGM. I've been to 19, never seen Dimitris, but it was in your class. Then pay attention to the future and what you do. Then interact with people, it's critical. That's why they are here. Then, do you have any question before we move other questions? Don't be shy, this is your chance. Come on. Georgo?
Let me, if there are no questions, I want to comment on this networking. Because Kostas is the king of the networking.
Hey, be careful. So Michael. We are the kings.
I know Kostas before Michael.
Be careful, because then they say Leroy, more vive Leroy.
Don't be afraid. At the start of your career, you might not have a big network, but networking is something coming inside from you. Being good with the other people. There's a saying in my country, person needs person. It is very easy to break the heart of a person. I can say to Rainer, why you were late? We started already. You were late. Are you stupid? What I did, I break her heart. For no reason. I have to understand why she is late. Is she sick? Is there a traffic? Is there an accident on the way? If she's coming by aircraft. So what I'm doing, I'm creating an empathy towards it. So if you have that competency of thinking by putting yourself into the other's shoes, you are at the right start. So never forget this. It's very easy to break the hearts of the other people, but it's very hard to gain their hearts. And don't call people when you need them. Call them when they need you. You got the difference? So call them in the occasions. Christmas is a good occasion for this. Birthday is a good occasion. Easter is a good occasion. If you're not able to call, just send a message. What you're doing, reminding yourself that you're there, there's a person called Mehmet, and showing your respect by sending a message, by reminding that this is a special day for you, I'm here, and I want to share that specialty with you. It is like a mountain. In time, you're going to, when you look at your back, you will see that you have tens of good friends and a network of people. So the starting of network is high school, then university, then business life. You have to have strong networks if you want to be as successful in the future. For example, I'm a political science graduate, but my greatest network comes from my high school mates and from my university dorm mates. For example, if I need something from P&G, the CEO and chairperson of P&G and Cacos is my dorm mate. Or if I needed something from the headhunter, the head of UK, a Turkish gentleman of Egon Zender, he's my dorm mate. Or if I need a doctor, we graduated from high school, 55 people, 33 of them are doctors. If I need a doctor, people call me, we need gynecologist, optician, urologist, radiologist, therapist. I said that, okay, where are you, or which private, government? So these are important. You have to invest in order to have that network. But you have to invest, not your network.
Well, no, it's exactly, it's important what you're saying, and I always say that my motto from when I was a student like you, I said, in front of me I don't have someone else than another person, period. If it is a CEO of a company, if it is someone serving me in a bar, it's the same for me. I treat everyone equally. And as you said, this is a unique industry, and at the end of the road, all the CEOs are people. Then they started from somewhere. They didn't start to be the CEO. They start from somewhere to get to have a leadership position. This is what we want to train you, all the team that you had to interact all this week, and that you will be on the second semester about. This is your start to be a leader. That's the whole idea behind. Therefore, if someone else wants to comment about the networking and during aviation studies, or I move to another. Yeah.
Just want to pick up on something that Mehmet shared, which is be there when people need you. There's a very prominent Aerospace CEO who was let go from his role. I won't mention the name. And it's funny how the world changes on these people, and suddenly, like, no one wanted to talk to this guy. He wasn't let go on the best of circumstances. He didn't do anything illegal or something, but performance, etc. But I took his phone call, and I invested in a relationship to listen to what he wanted then, at a moment when he needed some help. And to this day, you know, he says, Michael, you were there for me. And it's a small thing, and it's an easy thing to forget because we're all busy, right? But that small thing, as Mehmet says, you're there for each other, right? And some of my biggest searches, we get awarded mandates, have not come from clients, they've come from candidates who felt like I treated them with respect in a process. So I encourage my colleagues, because it's hard in our business not to do this, not to put labels on people. Like in my business, client, candidate, reference, no, they're people. That's all.
Any question? Comment?
Maybe.
Rania.
Hello everybody, I am Iatrou and I'm very pleased to meet you all. I think it's very important to be in front of you all. I think we have a lot to learn, and I think your time is very important. So we all appreciate the fact that you are here. We are all, I'm sure, impressed by the careers, and we are also aware that we have a good opportunity to learn from all of you. And I would be curious, where is the best place to start creating not a connection, but to create a network? Yeah, thank you.
I'll get the ball rolling. I like people, in fact. Okay, this is how I ended up doing what I do. I discovered I like people, and I like all people. Okay, even
Old.
though all people.
Old. I'm old.
You are, me too, I'm old, but okay. And that means that it's an amazing privilege to talk to the CEO of an airline group, right? Of a huge airline that you see on the news or whatever. Sure, and that's a great moment in life. The receptionist is also a super interesting person. The secretary is a super interesting person. The guy who does sustainability. Everyone is interesting. Everyone, in my opinion, or I always manage to find something and learn something from anybody in life. And I think the CEOs I admire most, and we talked about Dimitris, are the kind of people who can keep that humility. I've watched Dimitris twice, Mr. Yerianis, take us to his technical base, and he knows everybody on first name basis, okay? Everybody, and their families, and the cold they had last week, and the business, and everything. And personally, I'm inspired by something like that, which means that there's an opportunity sitting right next to you today, and there always will be, in the bus, in the train, in the queue for coffee, in the conference, wherever. That's my opinion. You start now, and you never know when that will come back to feed you.
I might say also to that, look for affinities. So in my 30 plus years of recruitment, I kept meeting fellow Lebanese, I'm of Lebanese origin, in the aviation business. I said, hey, quite a few of these guys. I'm sure there's quite a few Greeks and Turks, etc. But hey, I was interested in, you're Lebanese as well. So I started documenting them all, and then I said, why don't we create cedar roots? Cedar being the symbol of Lebanon, and its roots ROUTES, because we all come from different places, but we all have our roots in Lebanon. So now we have a professional affinity group of 60 plus aviation professionals and executives, some of them very senior, who just all have a Lebanese interest in common. And we are trying to help mentor younger Lebanese coming up. So the message is, find an affinity group that you can build a network around of people who have common interests.
Anyone else wants to comment?
And that affinity, as I told, starts from high school. Because when you're in the elementary school, you don't know yourself. But in the high school, your personality started to form up for the future. First affinities or the networking starts in the high school mates. Don't lose it. Because you don't know where they're going to be in 20 years' time. Second is the university. Your classmates, department mates. If you're staying in the dorm, your dorm mates. Lots of my dorm mates are in certain critical positions. My university mates, I was in a meeting 2 days ago. No, yesterday, I mixed the date. Yesterday I was in a meeting, 80% of the CEOs in that meeting were from my university. So that's the affinity. We are from the Athens University, we are from the Saloniki University, we are from the Chios University. So don't lose these ties. Then be members of your alumni clubs. Try to be active in the alumni clubs in order to get connected with the other alumni. Because in the high school, in my days, it was 7 years. Now, I think 4 or 5 years. So you know only that 5 years you're in. But if it is a 50 years old school, there are 45 years graduates. How are you going to get in contact, with touch with them? Get into the alumni clubs. So increase your touching points. And how you're going to start the relation is high school, university, department, the company that you're working. For example, there are EY alumni, the job alumni, or McKinsey alumni. So if you once worked in the McKinsey, they had their own alumni. You might leave the company, but you still keep your relations and with the active employees of that time and the previous employees like yourself who left. So alumni clubs is also another place that you can start your networking.
Thank you.
Just to add on this, for me, being all these events, then also being conference helps you to network. Adding on top of what already said, and being different conference, you have this opportunity to interact with people. Here we have 4 plus here with Yorgos, Andreas, Petros that are with us. Then this is a good interaction. But then you have more people that you can see. If there is an event that is take place in your area, because I know traveling is not easy, it costs time consuming and so on. Then if there are events around us. As Michael said, last year, Athens Airport hosted 2 events, the Kappa and ACI Europe. Then is a good time to interact. As I said to you, organize small events. I cannot invite all of you, but some that can come and participate and have a good interaction. Any comments? Any questions? Andrea, do you want to say anything?
One more comment to add on what Michael said. You can go to the conferences. You can be in the seminars or the panels. If you want to get maximum out of it, make your press study. As he said, put target. For example, I'm going to meet 5 new people. I'm going to learn something new. If you do your homework in advance, you will get the maximum out of that. Or without doing anything, you can go to the nowadays, for example, because of the cost cutting, we said that for the sake of going a conference, nobody is going to go. And after each conference, whoever attends going to prepare a kind of short executive summary and share with their colleagues. So, conferences are not places for entertainment. Of course you're going to entertain, but you're going to learn and add value to that. If you're not learning and adding value to yourself or to the conference, why the sake you're going there? So do everything with a purpose and with something that you're going to gain. So make your homework in advance.
This is exactly what Michael said. This is what Michael said, that you have a list before going to the event in order to prepare who you want to meet, and we try to do the maximum out of it. Just to give you my own also experience, I was finishing my PhD and I went in a conference in London, and I had met with Willie first time. Willie Walsh is the DG of IATA currently, and then was the CEO of Aer Lingus, and I know him for 23 years now. Then you want to add something?
No, actually, I'm the worst networker ever.
Go on, you
I
spill.
have to be honest. Don't
Nah.
tell anyone inside this room.
It's recorded.
Totally great mom. No, really. I mean, and the only thing I have to say here, I even today I feel uncomfortable networking with people professionally in conferences and all those things. But what I have come to realize is I will never be this amazing champagne personality who suddenly is the center of the whole room. It will take a conscious effort. So take a deep breath, be calm about it. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's the thought that really rests my mind, and I've come across it really easily, is that's why the other people are there. I mean, it's not like you have gone to a funeral and you want to network. You're just networking with people who are there to network. So it's very fine, and sometimes they might feel equally, let's say, have cold feet with you. So, I mean, that would be my only advice there for this. And by the way, only one thing that came to my mind with networking, how right now, in the job that I am, I really regret not having a greater network. So if you were to ask me, I would start at a very young age creating a huge network. And I'll give you a very quick example. The usual example, you speak to a CEO, he's asking a question, do we know anyone with specialization in LD3 containers, maintenance? And you know the amount of money involved is huge, and you just know there is somewhere on this planet somebody who is, of course, this type of expert. And you need to have the expert field, because that's what they're expecting from you. And it's amazing. I mean, this is a real question, first of all, and it's amazing the number of questions you get. Do you know somebody XYZ who is specializing in XYZ things? Last weird thing that I had a week ago, we found actually an expert in boarding pass printing in 7 colors. A long story.
One more thing. Invest yourself. For example, you went to a conference and there's going to be a kind of reception. So you saw a person that you want to meet. You saw a CEO of Aegean Airlines and you want to meet for your future career. The best way to start is to talk about wine or food. For example, when I was young, I got a book, Wine for Dummies. Yeah, I learned about the wines. Then whiskey for dummies, I learned about the whiskeys. You saw that Rania is drinking whiskey. Oh, you like the whiskey? I like whiskey. What kind of whiskey you like? The malt whiskey, blended whiskey?
Which one is your favorite?
It depends on my mood. I can drink anything.
I hate whiskey.
So,
Sorry.
learn about the food. Learn about the food. Learn about, if you're going to a cultural issue, learn about that. Cinemas, movies, theaters, operas. For example, if you're going to an opera to meet someone, look at the story of that opera. Macbeth. What was the opera is for? Do not go there just for listening to Macbeth and the opera, but study in advance. So this is spending the time for creating value.
Andrea?
Okay, I think we've heard some very wise words and advice, and obviously being the MATBA director, I would strongly encourage you to maximize the networking value out of our program. Huh? I think it's very good that most of you managed to come to the on-site week. It acted as a nice breaker, but from now onwards, as you know, the program is online. So that can be a challenge network-wise. But my advice would be to, start thinking out of the box and in terms of your group assignments. So there is a natural tendency for people to work with other people that they already know. So I know that the articles, they knew each other, people from Athens International Airport, they knew each other, some others had a pre-existing network, but now I think it would be a wonderful opportunity to step beyond that. So in terms of your group assignments, you might decide to work with someone who is from another field of aviation. So if you're an air traffic controller, you can work from another classmate from Athens International Airport or working for an airline. In this way, you can develop your network, and as mentioned earlier, you can think about other people's job and get in their own shoes. Because we are in a very complex business ecosystem. At the same time, there are supply chain conflicts. We keep saying that there is this love and hate relationship at different levels, but we need to focus on the love part, not the hate part. It's a common future, and here you have a wonderful opportunity to work with other classmates that are in other parts of the sector. So don't create any ivory towers, and I think you've seen with Dimitris Georgiadis, one of the reasons why he's so successful is that he has no ivory towers around him. So try to think not only in terms of your micro, let's say, cosm, try to step beyond, try to work with colleagues from other sectors as well. And that will also set the fundamentals for very effective networking, not only in the context of MATBA, but well beyond that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andreas. Then,
Can I add something?
Sorry, I have to leave. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
What Professor Andreas said is very critical, especially sitting on the ivory tower issue. So I would like to tell you some strategic issues about this. Japanese invented Kaizen cycles. Have you heard about this? So Kaizen cycles depend on a philosophy called Genbutsu Gamba. In English, see on the sight solve on the site. So if you do not see the event, occurrence, mistake, problem on the site, whoever living that problem, issue, event, if you do not touch them, the solution that you're going to find in the ivory tower will not be accepted by those people, or will be solution for that problem. So Japanese, mainly the Toyota started this, Kaizen cycles and Genbutsu Gamba. Look at this on the internet, you will find lots of information. So Japanese prove that you can sit on the ivory tower, but you solve nothing. So you have to be on the site if you want to solve it. And if you are on the site, you have to touch the people. So another approach with the management philosophy behind that.
Thank you, Mehmet. Then just to add also on top of what said is that when you are in an event, don't be afraid. Enjoy it also, because you're going to meet with other people. Okay, some might be distant, but some other are willing to talk to you. Then don't be disappointed if someone doesn't want to talk to anyone. It can happen. It's part of the game. But don't be disappointed if someone is like that, because you see here we have C-level people. Then they are friendly. They are not but there are still all kind of character of people. Then to move another question. What role does lifelong learning play in aviation professionals?
Life is a continuous learning process until your last breath. Of course, the learning sections and phases are different. We learn, I think, 70% of what we're going to learn in whole our life until the age of 6. Then we start to end on top of that. But this continues. And believe me, if you are not learning something new every day, this can be a word, this can be some information, whatever you want, or whatever you are enthusiastic about, that's a lost day. If you ask me, Mehmet, what you learned today? We went to a very good wine tasting area, and I like the local grapes, but I learned the Attica local grapes and how tasty they are. This is my game for today. So force yourself to learn something every single day. And you are lucky compared to us. Let me give you an example. I'm 60 years old. So when I was in the school, we have Meydanlarus Encyclopedia or Britannica Encyclopedia. And my father is very enthusiastic about this. He has a big library at home. So in our neighborhood, we are the only one having those encyclopedias. And if someone has to do a job or project, they knock our door. If you are available, can we come and look at your encyclopedia? So in our neighborhood, we were the only one having that encyclopedia. Now, all of us are carrying our encyclopedias. Plus, there's also a searcher for us. It was Google, now the AI, the ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and the others. So if you're enthusiastic about anything, ask. Ask and tell, and they are learning your profile and your structure. Tell them that on this matter, give me in my structure a page summary. So by this way, you won't get dementia and Alzheimer easily also. Yeah.
Anyone who wants to comment or move to another question? Michael.
There was, you probably don't get this advertising here, but there was a great ad in the US on Dos Equis Spear. And it was about a guy they called the world's most interesting man, because he was just like doing the most fabulous things in life. And at the end of it, he turns to the camera and he goes, "Stay thirsty, my friend." And so the message I have for you is that stay thirsty for knowledge, right? So don't lose the most important thing for, I think, the mind, which is intellectual curiosity, right? So I'll give you a small example. I don't know, for whatever reason, I've been coming to Greece a lot. Kostas is part of that. But I've developed a real fascination with Greek mythology, with Greek philosophy, right, which is really amazing stuff. So it's no coincidence that the case study on Aegean has some Greek mythology and philosophy in there. So there's a lot to learn from things that maybe not so obvious either, right? Follow where your curiosity goes, and I think you'll pick up knowledge that could be applied in other areas.
I was going to pick up on what you were saying earlier, because you mentioned AI and how 4 years ago, whatever, and now it's 1/6, I think, of your evaluation process. And I think it's important to remain thirsty for it, as you were saying. So give yourself a target. You said that, so we need to network during coffee. Sorry, Ilias. Because my target for this year is AI. I need to understand what the potential is for me and for my organization and my team, and then roll that out into the association. So give yourself a target, and companies often have training budgets. It doesn't have to be an MBA. It can be a 3-hour coaching, a half-day coaching, and all of those things are snippets of knowledge that you will find in front of you one day. Thank you.
Let me teach you something. Continuous learning. Who is Pegasus in Greek mythology? Do you know it? Who is?
The flying horse.
Who's father and mother of flying horse?
Hephaestus, I believe, with Aphrodite or not? No?
Father is Poseidon, mother is Medusa. And when Medusa gave birth to Pegasus, when they chopped the head of the Medusa, Pegasus was born. Something for you to put into your pocket. Why? I'm carrying Poseidon's ring, and we went together with Kostas, thanks to him, Poseidon's temple, to see the Poseidon's temple. He doesn't know about that also. Am I wrong? I teach him this. So you learn something new.
Every day.
Always we learn, that's for sure. Then move to another question. Which soft skills are essential for success in aviation careers? I will start with Michael, that is the expert, I believe, on this.
Well, you can imagine, I mean, in our business, we do, 40, 50 searches a year. We meet 20, 30, 40 people on each search, thousands and thousands of people. And after a while, you develop a sense of patterns, right? And it's going to sound provocative, but when someone keeps telling me how good they are, I know they're not, right? Because they're covering some sort of insecurity. So when I think of the most successful leaders in our business, they're humble. And I'm not just talking about Dimitris Georgianis, but many others. They give credit to their teams. They stay very aware of what could knock them off the pedestal. I remember, you may know a name, Richard Anderson. I think he's arguably perhaps the best CEO that we've had in the United States. He's the guy who transformed Delta into what it is today and now being run by Ed Bastian. And they were getting great news after great news after great news. And I would email him and I said, Richard, this is fabulous. And he goes, Michael, I tell my team to remain humble. So that's, I think, is really important. Don't let it get to your head. Give your team credit. It will all come back to you.
Ilias?
This was a specialized version of what I had in mind, which is the skill to create a nice, and I'll get to the word nice, what I mean by nice working atmosphere around you, whether you're a leader or you're a participant in the team. The nice is a word that can be misunderstood because obviously it's not just about having only the heart symbol, but because it's work, it can have its own conflicts, but as long as it stays on the rational level and not on the emotional level. And I believe it's a skill that one is not only a talent that one can have, but it's also a skill that one needs to develop, of having a little bit more emotional intelligence, understanding a little bit taking a room temperature. And I believe what Michael was talking about is now the leader, the CEO, exactly in order to do all this, that's exactly one of the soft skills they need to have, because otherwise you can imagine that they would suck all the oxygen out of the room if they were to say, I'm the greatest of all, support me in my role. Great. So I think nobody would be willing, to really follow that person. So I believe it's all about being able to create an environment which supports, let's say, the development of the team as a whole. And like I said before, it's not just about leadership. Any member of the team. That's, I think, a skill that is also difficult to find. You don't find it simply on a single textbook. You'll find it in multiple books, including history, including just a novel, and of course, in MBA books.
Just to add, for those you don't know, Ilias had working also in EASA in the past, and also was the chief operating officer of Fraport Greece, and responsible for the renovation of the 14 airport. And he give you his knowledge, from all the aspects. Then, not to be now leading Lufthansa consulting, one of the leaders of Lufthansa consulting, but all his world and pass his experience with you.
Yeah, everybody has their own.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, they know the other. Then already said a little bit. Then, as we didn't refer to you because Michael said in the class. Then Rania said already, and Mehmet. Then not to be in equal treatment. Then Rania, comments.
Because the other way of looking at humble is listening. You have to listen. You have to sit for a moment, smell people, smell a room, just listen to people. And when I look at the CEOs I have to engage with, they are all very, very different humans. I mean, Michael O'Leary, louder than a Greek, let's be honest.
You know who's Michael O'Leary, of course.
The Ryanair CEO. And then on the other hand, you have Ben Smith, Air France KLM. Tall, slim, and quiet, and speaks at this volume. Okay? And they are, all of them, excellent at what they do, but they are very, very different humans, which I guess gives us all hope, because it's not about personality, it's about aptitudes. And fundamentally, I think what they're all good at is reading rooms, reading situations, listening to people, surrounding themselves with sort of the best, and actually listening to what those other people have to say.
You want to add something or remove? Okay. Then,
Not too much.
no, it's okay. Then that's good. Any comments? Any questions? Okay, Kostas.
Yes. Thanks all of you for being here for us today. I would like just to ask a little bit further than what you present. You all, most probably you have under you a few thousand people working for you all. We know, I mean, and you hear all these days how to run the show, but I would like to ask you how you can make sure that, what is the way that you choose the correct people as post holders? Because what I have seen out of my little experience out of it, it's maybe the most difficult part in the aviation business. Everybody is next to you because he wants to be next to you, and very fast he wants to become in front of you leader of the leader, which actually is a mess. So in the sense, how you can make sure that this guy is there? I mean, I can choose it correctly. I mean, the way that you can choose before you even have him with you or her with you.
Michael, how do we do that?
Michael, I think.
Actually, I'm not the guy running these organizations, so I'm going to defer to you first. And
The mic.
He's deferring to us first as he doesn't run an association. So then you'll go around and help us pick out the right elements, please. I'm actually recruiting someone right now for an important position in my organization. We're a small team, so important positions are even more important, because when you get it wrong, that's 1/10 of the workforce, and that's the entire association and the whole year that it's just gone, So I attach a lot of importance to it. And what I look for, I tend to look for graduates in political science. I mean, I work in politics, and typically you will find in Brussels people who speak minimum 4 languages fluently, who are either law graduates or political science, who have done a stage in the commission. They are all the same, fundamentally. Let's be honest.
That's good or bad?
It's life. It doesn't make it good or bad. It's a fact. And then the question comes, how do you choose? Personally, I look at what I have in my team and I look at what I'm missing. So I always bring interviews and I mix and match the people who sit, because I sense a personality and I want to see, will that person get along with that other person, or will this blow up? Because we're 10 people, it cannot blow up, remember? Are they complementary in terms of, is one super creative? If I have too many creatives, like in my comms, I had too many creative people, so I was purposefully looking for someone who brings structure in life, and that's what I recruited for. So when we sometimes say getting a job is a question of luck, it's not luck, it's about what's already there in my world and how does the new thing fit in. So right now I'm looking for something very specific, which is not taught. You either are or you're not, the kind of what I call political animal, where I give you a story and off you go to sell that story to the world in Brussels in the most creative way possible, while touching base with my team. So I'm looking for someone like that. I'm not at all looking for someone who's a technical expert. So I adapt what I need depending on what I have and what I have ahead of me. And ahead of me, I have a really 100-meter race that's going to run for 2 years, basically. And I need someone who has the stamina and the human skills to just run away, touch base every now and then, and keep us going. Whereas 4 months ago, I was looking and I hired someone who's very processed, very structured, here's how we do things in life. And together, that makes an amazing team, especially when you're small, because they are very complementary. And it just, when you shake it up, it works. Correct.
Problem starts when you are big.
Yes.
Can you repeat?
We are 10,000, for example, people. So when you go up the ladder, it is getting harder. So the election must start at the very first day when you hire someone. So that's why career planning is very important. When you look at the reason for happiness or motivation of an employee, money is not in the first three. Am I wrong, Michael? Career planning is in the first three. So when you started as a junior in an organization, if the organization can show you where are you in the ladder, where are you in that company, and where you can be, and what are the additional support your company is going to give you, is the starting point of it. Then each company might have a different view. We work with a norm staffing, so a department has only 10 people. Unless their job load, workload, do not increases, they cannot have 11 people. They have to prove, and this has to be tested by a third-party consultant, that they need another person. So job descriptions are there, processes of every single department with the interactive departments are defined. It's a computer system. Then, after the managerial positions, all elections must go, internal or external, and above, to an assessment process. Because I saw in my life, every good specialist cannot be a good manager. We had lots of problems due to this. So we must put the assessment into our life, including our CEO. We have candidates, we have secondment plans for manager and above positions in our company. Even we have a secondment in the company for the C levels and director levels. They must compete with external candidates. For example, for our CEO selection, instead of my place, we have an internal candidate. We work with Korn Ferry, Turkey, and we spent huge amounts of money. They identified. No, I'm saying that. Do not hesitate to spend money. They identified 30 people, then I lowered it to 3 with our HR department. Then we took assessment those 3 with our existing internal candidate, and they brought us the spider web, the competency map, blindfold. Whoever is the best, we choose. It was our internal candidate. First, our internal candidate was not very happy about this selection. Then she recognized the philosophy behind it. Whenever you select manager and above position, you're not only selecting a person, you're bringing something into the, whatever the size of your company, someone, a decision maker. So you have to be fair to employees, to shareholders, and to the community. If you make wrong selection, the consequences of that will be really hard for these three parties. So above manager and other positions, we always took into assessment if they want to raise. And for director and above, directors N-2, N-1, and for N positions, they have to compete with external candidates. So by this way, you fair to your people, to your system, and to your stakeholders. It's very important. You need time to settle this. So you can't do from day one to day two, but you need some time to settle.
If I might just 2 minutes to build on that, we have a framework that we use called Korn Ferry 4 Dimensions, which says that leadership is really about 4 things. Experiences, what have you done? Competencies, what are you good at? And those are the things that we call above the waterline. So if you're looking at an iceberg, it's the piece of the iceberg you can see. I can see it on a resume. Oh, you've been running a P&L, or you manage these types of staff, or run a budget. But the other 2 dimensions are the things you can't see, that you'll only find out by working with somebody. Traits, what do you like as a person? And drivers, which is what makes you tick. Why do you get up and go in the morning? And those things are normally below the waterline, and the adage we have in our business is people get hired on the first 2 and they get fired on the bottom 2, right? So we have a holistic approach, probably the tool that you're referring to, where we try to get to the totality of the person. And so it's a combination, of course, interviews. We commend what you're doing, the multi-party interviews, not be one person. Second, the assessments, which are very telling. I asked Korn Ferry to do the assessment on me when I was going to them, and I was like, whoa, they know me now. Right? The third is references. You know, if 9 out of 10 people say that this person walks and quacks like a duck, yeah, they're probably a duck, right? And it's amazing, sometimes people don't do their due diligence on important hires. I think we're seeing this play out in the United Kingdom right now with the appointment of the ambassador, right? No, not blaming him, but due diligence. Sometimes we see appointments in our industry and we go like, I can't believe that they did not know this, right? A phone call or 2 to the right people. Yeah, so that's my thinking.
Reference check.
Okay, as we approach at the end, then I have one last question to ask my panelists, and it's linked with, of course, with the MBA, with our MBA. Then how can MATBA help students in their career development? Then how you can contribute, apart, of course, your physical presence today, and what advice can you give to the students' development?
That's 3 questions.
I sum in one in order to be.
We can pick one of them.
Choose as you wish. You can start.
No, because I forgot them. Let me next.
With such an MBA in air transport management, I think this is unique in the whole globe. By this way, you can be a specialist in an aviation industry in certain area. But this will give you a broad look for the future steps. And if you want to go N-1, N-2 positions, I think getting this degree will open your scope more than before and will give you sustainable know-how, how to use your existing know-how coming from the university and practical life.
You want to repeat the questions, or?
No, thank you.
You will answer it?
I will answer that. I'm picking from your three
Yeah, whatever
questions,
you like,
and
of
I'm
course.
going to pick the question of how can I help. So now you've met me, now you know what I do. You will find me on LinkedIn because there's not many people who are called Rania Georgoutsakou, okay? It's a difficult one even for the Greeks, as you know. So you will drop me a note if you think I can answer a question or if you think I can help you one day. And there we have achieved the networking element of today's event. Voila.
Elia?
Okay. Right now, we're friendly. What's happening?
You will allow me to do my LinkedIn, gentlemen. Okay, thank you. Please.
Well, I think through MATBA you're going to learn all 1,500 acronyms in aviation, right?
Yes. I'm the one responsible.
I think,
It's terrible.
yeah.
Terrible.
I think the biggest advantage of any MATBA type of course, but especially of this particular course, is it answers to the greatest challenge when somebody is or about to be, but also whoever is active in the aviation industry. It's so specialized, it carries so many different fields, that basically you have to be an expert in everything, right? An expert in weather, an expert in runway operations, in terminals. It's amazing the expertise that goes in, and the more you are in the aviation industry, the more you realize you don't know enough. So the big advantage of these degrees is that they give you the opportunity to learn just a little bit from everything. So if you're an ATCO, you will learn some things about airline operations, extra things. So now you know what's behind the way of thinking of an airline. Why is it that they think this way? You'll also learn about some of the issues with airports. What is also behind their thinking? And I think if somebody is entering aviation, this allows them to have a little bit of a taste of where exactly they want to go. If already they're in aviation, then it contributes to what I was saying before about creating a productive environment around them. Because it's very important, we said about picking the temperature of the room, right? Understanding what everybody does. So if you want to have professional empathy, it's very important to know how the other aviation professional from a different sector is thinking. It's important if you're in airports to know how a NATCO is thinking. Why is the shift so important? How is capacity defined in the tower? You don't have to be an expert. Just knowing this, there are experts who will explain everything in full detail. So that's, I think, the biggest contribution that these degrees bring. And I think this is probably one, it's going to be a game changer in Greece. It's going to change the way the aviation industry is in Greece. And it's not going to be done in 10 years. I believe it's going to be done maybe 2 or 3 years or so. Yeah, that's my view.
Michael, last one.
By the way, sorry, because it was about what we can do. Obviously, I'd like to, of course, repeat what Rania mentioned. And hopefully, also with my other partners, we could maybe contribute with a couple of case studies for you, or some bringing in some of this wide industry events that are happening. Yeah, that's right.
I think I've shared quite a bit with the group so far, so I won't elaborate further. If any of you are interested in staying in touch, I'll give you my cards. Do not hesitate to reach out. Be bold, right? Reach out to people, Rania, Mehmet, Ilias, and connect with people, and they'll make the time for you.
Well, this concludes this 2 hours seminar workshop. If you want to say, if you want to ask some more questions after we finish, you can ask them. Then I would like once again to thank all of you. I would like to thank Athens International Airport to help us organize this and offering also the media center, but also the human resource and also the human resource department, and of course with the leadership of George Kallimasias, Ioana Papatheodorou, and also Teta Petroula, among others, and Marina Papageorgiou, that is also from the team of Ioana, doing the public relations. Then, as you see, we are a team. We work together. Then you see, these are the leaders of aviation. Then we hope. Not all, but most of you will be leaders in the future. And as Michael said in the talk on Monday, then you might be in the Air Transport Hall of Fame in the future. Then once again, thanks for being here. This concludes the first week, the on-site part of the program. Don't forget on Monday we start online. Then enjoy the weekend and start working, because a lot of things will come soon. Many thanks, and please give a round of applause to our fantastic panel.